Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog. Alliance? If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Salliance. That's me.
It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party.
It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome, one and all, to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and for información. Todos los National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal. His name is Devin Mercer. We are the Alliance Guys. And DKM, I apologize. Where's Jaden?
Something about a phone. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Something about a phone and a girl named Ruby. We are the Alliance Guys.
Thought her name was Sally.
That's Mustang Sally. Mustang Sally better put her Mustang down or something like that. DK, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm alive. I'm not going to go much further than that.
Well, I mean, those aren't little bottles of vodka in the back, are they?
I wish.
Your dog his head just popped up behind the bed, and now it's the cutest, funniest thing I've seen all day. Is that,
sometimes it just goes that way.
Is that Haas? I forgot. Is that one Haas?
Yes, that one's Haas.
Haas is your little sidekick as of late.
Yeah, got to do something.
Speaking of dogs, what up, Jaden? That's a good segue. Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, Jaden. Where you been, Jaden?
The stupid app. I'm hitting the link, and all it's doing is making me heart, unheart, unheart, heart, heart, unheart, heart, unheart, heart. And I'm trying to hit the stupid link, and I had to go through like 7,000 procedures just to get to the fact that to get to this stupid thing because it's driving me nuts, and I don't understand why it's so stupid. All I want to do is click the button, go to where the hell I want to go. Instead, it's just making me heart, unheart, heart, unheart, heart, unheart.
You want to know what drives me nuts?
Steering wheel.
Steering wheel in my pants.
Driving me nuts.
Hey, I'm in a full I don't give a S mood today, so if I seem a little off, that's because I don't give an S today. Willie Bowen's got your Irish joke of the day. Iris will be in the Tournament of Roses parade as a float for Popeye's Chicken. Louisiana fast.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is, but I used to find Popeye's chicken good, but at least around here it is not anymore. It is so horrible anymore.
They're building one literally like
within walking distance of my house.
Well, hopefully it's good, because the one in Glassboro and the ones in the surrounding area, they're not good. Hey.
I have a love-hate relationship with Popeyes. Sometimes, like, you'll get it and it's fantastic. It's great. Other times, not so much. And it's the same location, same spot. I don't know. I want to like it. I kind of like spicy foods, but it just never agrees with me, and it never. It's inconsistent the way it tastes.
We had
According to a, I'm sorry, DK, go ahead.
I was going to say we had one here that was pretty good, but they closed after a while. But the one I went to in Arlington, that was bad.
So you have a love-hate relationship with Popeye's chicken. You know, according to a meme I just saw, you look like Booker T. Apparently, you must be like Bluto too, or is it Brutus?
Either one of those works. So that I was gonna play that today because I thought it was funny when I recorded it. Obviously, very weird how many people said like Booker T, and I'm like, maybe I do look like Booker T because enough people have said it now. You know, like I get it. You're trying to be glib. Somebody said like Yokozuna. I'm like, oh thanks. You know, Otis. That one kind of hurt. You know, Colt Cabana. I'm like, really? What about me looks like Colt Cabana? But then, like, so many Booker T's. I'm like, wait, do I look like Booker T? Like, maybe I'm a white Booker T.
I like Dr. Zirconium's answer. He said you look like the love child of Mae Young and Mark Henry.
Well, that's a handy thing to say.
All right, good night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Not going to top that one. But we probably can, but we're not going to try.
DK just logged out. He said, that's it. I'm done. You guys, nope. I don't want my reputation sullied with this kind of filth, this kind of content. I will not stand for it.
I thought he was sitting.
I honestly don't give a S today, guys. I don't even care if we talk about wrestling tonight. I don't care.
You're suddenly turning to Elmo with all these letters you're getting.
I'm waiting for next week so we can talk about the Olympic wrestling and not have to deal with the garbage that I've been watching. Did you watch Power this week?
Yeah, I just finished it. Do you guys want spoilers for Daredevil? I mean, Daredevil. I keep saying Daredevil. You want spoilers for Deadpool?
I already saw it, so let me a spoiler.
You came to the wrong place, Daddy, because we don't do spoilers for MCU movies. We respect the audience.
Since when?
Luth S is White Lavender Kaylee. I don't have the smokes, bro. Got the finest smokes. Oh, yeah. Tell me something good, Jaden. Tell me something amazing or fun or exciting.
Yeah, I just watched you start your TikTok dance career.
Yeah, right. Gonna make it. Oh, TikTok. That's a fun place. Oh, did I show? You guys know that I'm kind of a toy nerd, right?
Never heard that.
So, for Father's Day this year, oh, there goes the fan. My daughter, Lily, got me a Goliath from the Gargoyles cartoon. It's one of my favorite cartoons. I used to watch it all the time. Even after it was off the air for a while, I used to watch it on the Disney Channel when I had cable. And I love that show.
Stone by day, warriors by night.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's on Disney Plus too. Then I was at
Disney Plus, so it doesn't matter.
Then I was at Target the other day, and I got this, which is the Mecha Goliath, the Steel Clan robot. I don't know. Can you see that all right? My wife, seeing that I'm starting to collect gargoyle stuff, bought me this. The Tony Stark of the Gargoyle universe, Xanatos.
Really? I thought that was Captain Riker.
I mean, the voice is Captain Riker, but he looks like Tony Stark. He acts like Tony Stark.
I thought he actually looked like Captain Riker. At least he did then.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then the other thing that she bought me, I think I gave her a bunch of money, so I think she was just trying to pay it back. She got me this.
Voltron, Defenders of the Universe.
And I'm I'm too afraid to open it up.
Odd trivia fact: Peter Cullen, DK, you're on mute. Peter Cullen actually debuted as the voiceover for the intro to Voltron before he debuted as the voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, two of my favorite. Speaking of Optimus Prime, and then when I put them next to each other, I feel like Optimus Prime is going to be bigger. And like Optimus Prime is not anywhere near as big as Voltron. Voltron's like the same size as like Omega Supreme or something like that.
You should see if you could Lego them together and make a
Optimus Voltron,
a Lion Convoy or something like that.
The Lion Convoy or a Voltron Prime.
Lion Convoy. There's a deep cut if you're a Transformers fan.
Well, yeah, because doesn't the in the Japanese series, doesn't one of the primes is a lion?
Well, what it is I think that's the name of one of the Optimus Primes is a Lion Convoy.
So Willie Bowen's asking the serious questions here: is the lion or vehicle Voltron? I'm going to ask you first. I'm going to let you answer first, Jaden, and then DK. I don't know if you have an opinion, but I'd like to hear yours too.
Here is the biggest mistake and one of the biggest blunders in the world. They actually rented the footage of both, and they had plans to put both on TV, but they decided to do the Lion Voltron first, thinking they'd both be successes. So they went from white to the Lion Voltron, and when that ran out, they went to the vehicle Voltron. The problem is everybody was invested in the Lion Voltron, and nobody wanted the vehicle Voltron at the time. So there was an outrage. If they would have continued with that, it would have probably been still a success for much longer than it was on TV. But since they were using the footage that they already had in Japan, which is probably a couple of years old by the time, they didn't have any other footage without making anything new.
I think I knew that. There was also a third Voltron that never made. It was manufactured by Matchbox. The toy was released by Matchbox, and it was supposed to be the third Voltron in the lineup. But because the vehicle Voltron did not do as well as the original or the Go Lion Voltron, that they ended up canceling the plans to release that show in the U.S. And that was like a 3 robot Voltron. I used to remember the name, but I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, and I had all 3 of the die-cast toys where the paint was toxic, just like I had the original building Voltron where the paint was toxic.
I had like 1 or 2 of the triple Voltron, but I didn't have the third one, so I couldn't go full Voltron. Now, DK, I know you're a little bit older than us, but did you watch Voltron? Was that something that was in your optics when you were a young man? No.
What was your first anime?
I saw some of it, but I was already kind of older, and I didn't watch it on any regular basis.
What was your first anime, DK? Speed Racer?
Shogun Robots?
No. Well, first anime that I watched on a regular basis.
One that you remember as a kid, because Voltron was ours.
I don't remember anything as a kid. I mean, that was specifically anime.
There was Robot Boy or Astro Boy, Speed Racer. Like I said, there was other stuff that was out.
I remember Speed Racer. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of it, but I remember it. I was of the generation that, got the TV guide and circled the cartoons that he was going to watch on Saturday morning, and didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do when there was a conflict.
When there's a conflict with a conflict.
Well,
so what was your first? What was your first regular anime?
My first regular anime?
Yeah.
Not until I had kids. I think Pokemon.
Oh wow. Not that that's like super surprising, right? Because I
I had seen it. I remember having a Wizard of Oz cartoon that was done anime style.
Okay.
And they released like 3 or 4 of the books of the Oz books in that style. And I mean, I can remember watching that, but just like a show that I had to sit down and watch, or didn't have to, but did sit down and watch, was probably Pokemon with my boys.
And I assume it's the same as me with Voltron, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I was. You know what? I can't even remember what it was called, and I think if I describe it, you'll think of it. But it was a show where there were like 4 or 5 pilots, and it was very similar to Voltron in terms of how the animation looked, and even like the characters, what they wore, and then their plane would catch fire. Does this sound familiar at all to you?
No.
It was like a space like jet cool thing, and I used to remember what it was, but now I can't think of it. And I used to watch that on a local channel here in Los Angeles when I was very young, and around that same time is when I first started seeing Voltron and Transformers. So that's the one that always sticks out to me. And you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't. I do remember Robotech, but I think that was later.
Yeah, Robotech was. There it is. I think Luthez got it. Battle of the Planets. I think.
I heard of that. I've never actually watched that.
Let me see. Battle of the Planets. I think that's it.
There was another one that it's now drawing on my memory where they kind of.
Yep, Battle of the
went
Planets.
around on a flying space battleship. It looked like an Earth battleship, but it was in space.
Huh.
Anybody can remember?
This might get me in trouble with the advertisers, but the hell with it, right? Let's see. Can I do it from here? Let's see if I can. All right, let's go here. Let's do this.
Fair use for 7 seconds.
Well, it's like 1:29. Where's the volume? Why don't? Oh, there it is.
Battle of the Planets.
That's the voiceover guy from everything that they did in
Young people with
the Hanna-Barbera universe.
And watching over them from Center Neptune, 7 Zark 7. Watching, warning against surprise attack by alien galaxies from beyond space.
Are we sure this isn't Dipper Friends versus Legion of Doom?
I mean, it sounds like it.
All right, I definitely think one of these show use for time. This might get you thrown off.
You know what? I don't care.
Was that gratuitous panty shots?
Of course it was. It was the 80s animation. Of course it was. This is what I was waiting for, the Phoenix. The inspiration for the Alliance right there. There it is.
Invincible.
All right. How about that, huh? and then so my brother, who's a few years old, my brother's 6 years older than me, and he had like a lot of these guys. Do you remember these guys, the Shogun robots?
No.
No? Jaden.
Before my time.
Yeah, I guess.
My brother loves Speed Racer, but my brother loves Speed.
I mean,
you do remember these?
I remember them in the toys section, yeah.
I don't remember seeing them in the toy store, but I remember my brother having them in the closet. And every now and then when he wasn't home, I'd go sneak in there and play with them. And you'd push the button on their hand and the fist would shoot off. But it was made out of like a hard not like a hard plastic, but like a wiffle ball bat type of material.
You know what? They did a Godzilla, I think.
They did what?
A Godzilla, I think.
I think you're right. I'm almost positive they did.
Because I had that. It had a little flicking tongue that looked like fire, and it shot its fist.
Amazing.
I remember that. I had one of those.
That's probably worth a fortune if you still had it.
Well, that picture that I showed you was from eBay, and that was like a $300. It's up for like $400 right now. Oh, here's the we could do this, right? Yeah, we'll do it. I don't
We
care.
can do anything.
Look. Worst case scenario, we don't monetize this episode. It's fine, right?
How are you
guys
going to
okay?
make that Vamanos Lucha Libre money?
Wait, say that again.
How do you expect this show and this channel to make that Vamanos Lucha Libre money?
We're up to like 3 pesos now, you know? All right, let me see. I'm gonna try to get it up here. You know, what I really
they have
need
little blue pills that you could probably get sponsors for if you have trouble with that. Little blue chews.
you got to enunciate. It's chew, not the other word.
Guy King with rocket boosters. Great Mazinga with rocket launcher.
Look, Godzilla!
Is he friend or foe? You can decide. Launch his claw.
What?
Imagine his breath is a blast of fire. The Lord Shogun Warriors and Godzilla. They're ready to strike when you are. The Shogun Warriors, Great Mazinga, Guy King, and Godzilla, each sold separately. Accessories not for use with smaller Shogun Warriors from Mattel.
Yeah.
Did they turn that Shogun Warriors into Translor Z?
Until Dragon Ball Z, you said?
Translor Z was another robot show that came on after Voltron. In fact, they were on a block.
I don't remember, but Matthew Underwood with the comment of the night. Fisting in the closet will get you demonetized. Yes.
I've
Good
heard
night, everybody.
So,
Willie Bowen.
okay. Well, we can leave again, I guess.
Willie Bowen says Voltron had a movie with the line and the vehicle team. I don't recall that. I don't remember.
Yes, they did that as a way to try to save it. Figure maybe kids will watch it. Unfortunately, it came out like way late in the project.
And by then, like Transformers came out in '84. You know, it's officially 40 years old now. And if Voltron, I think, came out, you said Voltron was out earlier, and I don't know when Voltron came out, but I think it was also like 84, maybe 83.
If I remember correctly, it debuted a week before the Transformers did.
Only a week?
I believe so.
All right, now, so like the rails have come off the show, and we're only 23 minutes in. So I apologize if you're expecting a lot of wrestling talk tonight. You're not gonna get it. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to deal with what you've got, which is Salty J, and Angry DK, and Jaden, who just Jaden likes to tell jokes. Tell a joke, Jaden. Say something funny.
All right, there's a rabbi and a priest and no.
Don't do that one.
There once was a man from Nantucket. Oh, that's a lemon.
Oh, yeah? What happened next?
You ever heard about the rabbi that did circumcisions for free? He only took tips.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so September 10th, 1984. And then...
for which one?
That was the Go Lions. All right, let's see. Transformers. Transformers first aired September 17th, 1984. You were right.
A week difference, yeah.
You were right. Good for you, Jaden.
I believe I started the whole podcast off with that fact. You were talking about Peter Cullen.
Well, okay, I didn't realize you said a week. I did hear you say that, but I guess I didn't listen a week. Season 5 of Joe Kazana Promotions dropped out, and it looks like they're at the Troubadour Theater, and it's a great-looking set. Oh, man, we should go back to watching Joe Kazana Promotions again. I'd have a lot more fun watching Joe Kazana Promotions than watching Power.
You know, we've actually missed many episodes. We could probably review old, going back from when we stopped, and go forward, and we have plenty of content to work with.
I think I was kicking this around, and I don't have there's no guarantee here. You guys don't have to agree to this, but I was thinking, what if we started doing a weekly watch along where the first part of the show we watch Joe Kazana Promotions or an NWA thing, and then the second part of the show we talk about wrestling, with an emphasis on the NWA, but whatever it is. What do you guys think about that?
I think we did that, and we did it for like 3 weeks and stopped.
Oh, yeah, because they stopped. There was no more content. We ran out of content. We did like the 3 episodes that were available for Joe Kazana Promotions. Then we did a few dog shows, dog events. You laugh, but I don't want to get yelled at.
That sounds like post-traumatic stress syndrome, the way you reacted.
I do have post-traumatic stress, but not necessarily from you.
Post, pre, who knows?
My whole life is a traumatic stress disorder. I should stop. There's a lot of people who have a lot worse than I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, like the people have to watch NWA Power.
Well, I watched Power, so I joined that squad. DK, did you watch it this week?
I did. Oh, very, very sad, but I did.
Okay. I'm not saying that the match was great, but did Ella Envy look great, or is it just me?
You always think Ella Envy looks great. I'm not going to argue with you on it one way or the other.
I think she looks dynamite. She's the best looking woman on the roster.
Hey, let's bring something up about that.
Let's do it.
Okay, so controversy.
Fred coming up?
Let's get your thoughts. Let's get your thoughts on this. Ella Envy gets mauled by Max. Utterly destroyed.
Yeah.
Jay would love to utterly destroy her.
Ella Envy has a competitive match with the world champion,
Kenzie Page.
I don't remember her name sooner or later. Just a few weeks back on TV. So, how does this make Kenzie look, or does it matter? Do we look at each match separately, or do we look at overall thing of shouldn't Max be the champion, considering how she's just smashing and destroying?
Should it just mean that she should be the challenger? If you destroyed the former challenger and now your next should be next in line, that should add a lot of doubt in the ability for Kenzie to retain.
Well, okay, so let's look at this like if this was a real sanctioning body and they kept wins and losses and everything else still played effect. The fact of the matter is that the women's television champion, Max the Impaler, outlasted the best of 7 series and at any time could cash in that reward to challenge for the World Women's Championship. And Max did that before Max won the men's television championship. So, theoretically at this point, Max, and I see it in the chat, I think Sean Mega just said it right now, is Max versus Kenzie their biggest match possible for 76? At least in terms of the Women's World Championship, that's probably the best opponent that they could use because Max earned that right by defending the women's television title successfully 7 times. Now, in the past, they didn't recognize title defenses outside of the NWA, but they specifically recognized, and the NWA ended up showing the title defenses that were in Japan and in Finland. So, yeah, I think Max versus Kenzie could be the biggest match for the women's world title.
Let's think about this. It was a year ago that Max beat Kenzie for the television championship, and then Kenzie won the world title the next night.
Didn't they announce that there's going to be a battle royal to get a shot, though?
What they plan on doing is there will be the Burke Invitational. We know that they did announce, and now you got us talking about wrestling. The Burke Invitational. They will crown a number 1 contender to the Women's World Championship, and the first name that I know that they've announced is Ohio Valley own Sweetheart to the Stars Hollywood Haley J.
Hollywood,
yeah.
Did I say Hollywood?
Yes. You're used to that too. It's Hollywood now.
I think I've said Hollywood multiple times too.
You have.
And now I'm reconsidering all of my life decisions.
You should.
You should start with eating avocado and thinking it's good.
I don't know. I'm still okay with that one. You know what I had for lunch today? Jersey Mike's.
I've never had it, but I don't think it probably tastes anything from something you'll get at Jersey.
What I don't get is how do you not eat Jersey Mike's? Like, I've gone to California Pizza Kitchen. I don't like it, but I've been there.
I don't even know if we have a Jersey Mike's in New Jersey.
That's amazing.
But the California Pizza Kitchen actually started there in California, right?
Well, Jersey Mike's started in Jersey, no?
I have no idea.
Here we go back to the Google machine. Where did Jersey Mike's originate? Jersey Mike's was founded in 1956 by Peter Concrow in Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
Oh, that's North Jersey. We don't talk about that.
Fair enough. What I don't understand is North Jersey, but when I came to visit Glassboro from Philly, I traveled south, no?
Yeah, Glassboro, South Jersey. There's two parts of New Jersey and only two parts for the spies with the controversy people try to say otherwise. There's North Jersey, and then there's the good part of New Jersey, South Jersey.
All right. Matthew Underwood brings up Media Mike. Love that place. I miss Media Mike. I really do. We've lost a few friends over the years, and Media Mike was certainly someone who you could count on to put a smile on your face. I miss that guy a lot. Sorry, just it's an I don't care Thursday. Okay, I don't care. I'm just gonna talk about whatever.
Did we have plans?
We did, but like I don't care. You go ahead.
Okay.
Here. You're in the leader position. You tell me what you want to talk about.
Can we go back to Voltron?
Absolutely, we can.
What was your color Voltron? What lion was your lion?
I was the black lion because I always liked to be the leader. I always wanted to be in charge. Keith, man, he was a rock star.
Were you wearing to Sven or his replacement?
Princess Aurora?
Yes.
Well, so when I was a kid, I always thought like that's nepotism. Why is the queen all of a sudden a member of the Voltron Force? What'd she do to earn it? You know, I liked Sven, but I think he was only there for like 2 episodes. No.
Yeah, I don't think he was there long.
So what I always wondered is why did they wear the uniforms that they wore that didn't correspond to the same color lions? Where Keith was the black lion, but he wore red. Princess Aurora wore pink. Pidge, I think, was the only one that matched the uniform to the lion. Hunk wore orange, but he was like the yellow lion. And I think Lance was red on red, so I think maybe he matched too.
Because those were official uniforms to the society where they came from. I can't think of the nation or the planet or whatever they came from, but it wasn't Earth. But that was the official military uniforms. That's why.
But why did they not? Okay, that's fair.
Initially, they weren't in charge of the lions.
They weren't the lion paladins, I think is what they ended up calling them later.
Yeah, initially they were just, I think, warriors, and they found the lions and then, had to resurrect them to create Voltron. But I might be conflating that with the Netflix version.
Yeah. You know what? The Netflix version wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. There was a version between the one from the 80s and the one that was on Netflix, and that was pretty bad. I didn't care for that one at all.
I did not like that one either. Didn't like the theme song. Didn't like anything about it.
I didn't like the pseudo 3D CGI graphics.
No, I did not like the one in between. Don't get me started on how they screwed up Thundercats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Thundercats.
But, again, the Netflix anime style of it, the way they did similar to when they redid the He-Man was pretty damn good. It's a shame it didn't sell any toys.
Yeah, I saw that. I was actually a fan of that He-Man. That was good stuff. I made the mistake of going to the WoW Women of Wrestling website and their history of champions. The original champion in 2000 was Terry Gold. I don't know who Terry Gold is.
The name sounds very familiar.
Like, in looking at the picture, I thought it was Terry Powers, but it's not. And then Lana Starr won the title in 2013. What wrestling promotion did Jungle Girl come from?
That was WoW. So that's actually, I know why. Terry Power was she was the built Americana style champion, and then it was Riot and Jungle Girl donated some of her some of her R's to Power.
Well, I remember watching Jungle Girl. She wrestled for UPW. Again, that's the same place where Samoa Joe got his start. John Cena that was where he first got his start. And she showed up there, and like I remember she had been on a wrestling program, an all-female wrestling program. So when she showed up in UPW, it was kind of a big deal, but like I don't remember where she wrestled before.
Yeah, the original WoW was a spiritual successor to Glow, more so than the current one is.
Yeah.
And it was all the wrestlers, I think, were trained by Selena Kyle or Selena something, who also was Bambi.
Selena Kyle, isn't that
Catwoman? Yeah, I know, but it was Selena something, and she was the trainer to all these women wrestlers, and they had a steel cage match, in the biggest steel cage I think I've ever seen, against her lover / enemy, whose name escapes me at the moment, but they gave her a different name too.
So
she was Bambi if you go old school pro wrestling people.
Just so we're all on the same page here, Erica Porter, aka the Jungle Girl, did in fact compete in the original WoW from 2000 to 2001. When that promotion closed, she started working for UPW, and then did some other stuff for a short time. Then did come back to WoW in 2013. But that's when she won the title. She was never champion before then. So that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I believe Riot won it at the only pay-per-view they did.
So you keep saying Riot, but what I'm looking at as the champions of WoW is running down the champions. You had Terry Gold and then Danger. Did Danger wrestle under the name Riot?
I think so.
Oh my God, she's Danger is from my hometown, Lakewood, California.
Woohoo! Is she kind of a punk / metal chick?
From the picture that I see, it's a blonde chick, but I mean, this is kind of new.
Yeah, it was after that.
What's that?
It was after that.
Who's
the champion after Riot? I mean, after Danger.
So it went. That's weird. Now I'm kind of interested. It went Terry Gold, Danger, Terry Gold, Vacant, the ever popular Vacant, then Lana Starr, then Jungle Girl, then Santana Garrett, Vacant, Tessa Blanchard, The Beast, Vacant, Penelope Pink, Princess Aussie. I was at the show Princess Aussie was champion. I was also at the show where Abilene Maverick, aka Barbie Hayden, won the title. And then The Beast is currently the WoW wrestling champion. She's from my backyard too. She's from Temecula. All these women come from the local territories, I guess. Sorry. Like I said, I don't care. Are you still here, Jaden? No, Jaden. I'm talking to myself over here. Great. I got no DK. I got no Jaden. And I'm over here looking at a WoW screen. Awesome. All right, let's go to your guys' comments. I'm already in a bad mood. Let's see.
There was another girl named Riot, and I remember it was after Terry Power.
It's not listed. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just not listed. And
I went to go look it up on Wikipedia, and it threw me off this thing since I had a backdoor my way to get on this today.
Backdoor, you say? Noob wants to point out that Voltron was called Go Lion in Japan.
Yes.
Matthew Underwood says, so Max is at 8 for the women's. Got to cash in, right? I mean, they should cash in that title shot, but whether the NWA allows Max to do that is entirely up to the NWA. I don't know what Billy's plan is for the TV titles, either set of them. And I feel like I don't feel like it's to prove a point. I feel like Max is a legitimate draw in professional wrestling. I think Max, in it of themselves, could be just a draw, like similarly to Andre the Giant or Abdullah the Butcher or, Bruiser Brody, somebody who you don't really need to necessarily put a title on for them to be an attraction. But by putting the title on them, you're basically just allowing their presence to be more important than the title. And like I said, Max is a superstar. Max goes to Japan. Max is a rock star. Max is getting booked in Finland, Helsinki, for damn sake. So I don't understand really what the plan is with these TV titles. I just know that they've basically been defunct for most of 2024 with maybe 2 defenses of either title. And it just is very disappointing to me as a fan of the NWA, because I don't feel like what are you doing? Like, what star is being established with that TV title? Because Max is there. Max doesn't need it. So
controversial outlook and opinion. I still swear Max is only champion because Effie called out Billy Corgan.
There might be some truth to that, and I don't want to get too controversial. I don't want to get too into.
I thought this was Don't Care Thursday.
Let's talk about it then. Damn it, you're right.
Not Taco Tuesday, but man, I want tacos.
I love tacos.
I want
tacos all day.
I got food heating up. I haven't eaten since noon, since we don't care. That's why I keep disappearing. I'm looking at food.
You're good. You're good. So, okay, so if Effie doesn't call out Max the Impaler, or excuse me, if Effie doesn't call out Billy Corgan for his use of Tyrus and anti-LGBTQ plus community, then you're saying that Max would never be TV champion?
Yeah, I think it's purely because he was called out for being not anti-LGBTQ. That is why Max is. I don't think Max wrestled before that. Did Max? For the NWA? I might be wrong on that.
Oh no, Max is very much a part of the NWA. Max started. Now that we're looking, go back to Max the Impaler.
Before Effie called him out for being anti-LGBTQ?
Yeah.
Max has been around for a couple of years.
I mean, yes, but I mean for the NWA.
No, in the NWA. She's been around for a while. They've been around for a while, excuse me. And
proud of you, DK. I'm proud of you, man.
I'm very proud of you, DK, because it's not he doesn't do it out of ignorance. He does it because of habit. He tries.
I do try.
And Max's debut was in 2022 against Ella Envy. Just saying.
Yeah, but when did Effie call him out?
That was like in 23, I think. Let's see.
I think Max already had the women's title.
I don't think so, because I remember this being a controversy when Max was either before or at when Max won the championship.
On 411 Mania reported on November 13th, 2023, Effie had some words for Billy Corgan, noting that he had the chance to work for the NWA and said no. Effie fired off on Corgan. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Maybe it's in the article. He called Corgan a dweeb. Anyone else call Corgan a dweeb?
That's one of the nicer things Corgan's been called, I think.
And what month was that?
Well, the article is from. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on now. This says January 2022. Well, that's a different article. This is not the same thing. Hold on a second. So the article 411 Mania said in November 13th, 2023 that come on, where's the tweet? You know what I told Billy Corgan? I said, go F yourself, he said. They asked me to come work NWA. They begged. They had multiple people call me to come work NWA. You know what I said? I'm not helping you. They said Tyrus isn't here anymore. You know what I said? You leaned into what Tyrus was doing, which was hate speech and Fox News bullshit for so long, a period of time that it effed you. And now you want Effie to come in and fix things and do a good PR job? No, I'm not helping you. I don't need you, and I'm not helping your company look competent. Sounds like, just based on my Google search, it sounds like Effie hasn't really had much positive opinion on Billy Corgan anyways. But he said this after Tyrus was gone from the company, which was the anniversary show. So that would have been like the same weekend that Max won the women's TV title was at the anniversary show. So this was apparently sometime in October before November. So I guess all that to say, he said those things about the NWA after Max was the TV champion.
Maybe it's the Mandela effect. I'm not remembering that way because I remember having this conversation.
No, because we had the conversation, but it was when Max was winning the men's title, because that came out of freaking nowhere.
Yeah, that they even had built up an angle with Mims and his former tag team partner, whose name is escaping me right now.
Draper.
Dak?
Yeah, Dak Draper. There you go. They had a perfectly built storyline for that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're going to unify the belts.
Yeah,
maybe that's where it was. Maybe that's why I think it happened, just because Effie called him out.
Yeah, so that went when they won the men's title. Max won the men's title. You were saying that it was because Effie called them out.
Okay.
And so, and a lot of people agreed because it just came 100% out of nowhere. And then it doesn't seem like there's been a plan with Max since Max won the men's title. Had an immediate rematch with Mims that went to a draw. And then the only other title defense I can think of off the top of my head was Magic Jake.
Dumbass.
Magic Jake Dumas. Yeah, that's it. That was the only title defense of the men's television championship, and of course, then the women's championship just aired.
So Billy is treating Max the exact same way he treated Tyrus.
Sure.
Which is basically he's put the title on somebody who doesn't have to defend it, and it's just the fact that they have the title.
Yep.
And
and it's like, hey, look, I have a Livid Qua champion.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Tyrus defended the TV title more often than Max has.
And just looking on Cage Match, which we've already said isn't 100% accurate, and there are a lot of glaring missteps on that site where they don't list every show like they effort to do. But it looks like Max hasn't even wrestled for a promotion outside of the NWA since the Crockett Cup, and only wrestled in Japan back in March, teaming with Aja Kong, but hasn't really been wrestling outside of the NWA. So there hasn't even been like non-televised matches or anything. It's just those titles are defunct right now. They are nothing.
We are defunct. We are defunct.
Gotta get that funk. We are funk.
Yeah, you really should be doing those TikTok videos.
Well,
can you do them while telling dad jokes?
That might work. Actually, those lives, man. When I'm on those TikTok lives, I get a little bit of stuff.
That's because they think they're looking at Booker T.
That's right. I should just start doing this. Sucker. I'm in business. I'm in business with Booker T.
You're in business with Booker T?
Yes, sir.
Are you a sponsor of Championship Wrestling from the
It's like the MCU, man, where it's all connected. It's all coming together. We're going to be on in Texas. We're going to be on in Lexington. We're going to be on in Los Angeles. I don't know.
So, wrestling-wise.
Wrestling. Hey, let's get into some of the comments. What do you guys think of tonight's show? Is this how we should do the shows from now on? Steve G says
pretty much how we do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a little bit less uniformed, and I'm all right with it. Steve G says the Tonga twins would help the NWA immensely. I'm not going to go as far as to say they would help the NWA immensely. I know that they've been reckless in the ring, and I've seen it with my own two hijos. And I think, sure, they would be a good addition to the NWA to have an additional tag team, but I don't think anyone's clamoring for the Tonga twins. Like Steve and I have a very similar opinions on pro wrestling, but this is one that I disagree with. I think that, yes, having them on the roster would help because it would add another legitimate tag team. But much like Reka Tahaka, I don't know that the Tonga twins are ready for TV. That's a good way to say it. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know now. You're getting a call from Haku. He does. Apparently, you're making fun of the Tongans.
No, you know what it is? Rikishi's like, hey, quit talking about my students.
I think it'll be a good idea because it'll link with the bloodline, which is hot right now. All Polynesians are hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is some truth to that. Matthew Underwood said that Erica Porter, Jungle Girl, is the daughter of Andrew Shue from Melrose Place, and that is just not the case, Matthew Underwood. They're probably the same age.
Andrew Shue.
He was a soccer player turned actor. He was on Melrose Place. God, I don't remember enough of that show to talk about it, but it was like the young adult. So if Beverly Hills 90210 catered to teenagers, this was the same show, but for young adults in like their 20s.
Didn't it have Kelly Kapowski on it?
No, Kelly was still on. Kelly still did the Beverly Hills. Gosh, I don't know enough of the names. I can't add to the conversation.
You know what Jay was watching in the 90s, though?
Rhonda Shear, Up All Night.
USA's Up All Night. Everybody watched that.
That was great, dude. I didn't watch Silk Stockings. I did like La Femme Nikita, though. Steve G says Vicky Lynn McCoy. They're all available. That would help the NWA Women's Division. Vicky Lynn McCoy left? I didn't know that.
Who was Vicky Lynn McCoy?
She's one of the. She's a former champion in WoW.
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 You guys need help.
Who knew that you did such a good Owen Wilson? Wow.
Wow.
Stupid. It's so stupid. Okay. WoW champions. So Penelope Pink is a former champion, and she was under the tutelage of on the show, she was under the tutelage of Vicky Lynn McCoy. I didn't know Vicky Lynn McCoy left, though. They were in the stable of the Fabulous Four. Oh, yeah. The Fabulous Four, which was Lana Starr, Penelope Pink, Lori Carlson, and Lindsay Carlson, their twins, and then Vicky Lynn McCoy. And I guess you're telling me that Vicky Lynn McCoy is no longer in that promotion? The native of Tulsa, Oklahoma, who has 4 years of in-ring experience. And her last match was in WoW back in December.
Does she have another name?
Kelsey Lynn.
Kelsey Lynn.
I don't recognize that one either.
She also had competed for ACW in a few events. She wrestled a match for Ohio Valley. She shared the ring with Debbie Malenko and one of those twin sisters from WoW for Twisted Wrestling. The Fabulous Four. What a name. I have friends that work for WoW.
Wow.
They're doing a TV taping, I think this week in Glendale, and I don't have time to get out there.
It's women's wrestling, and we know how you feel about that.
Oh my god!
Yeah, whatever happened. You used to hate women's wrestling.
No, so they're okay. Shit. All right, so our good friend, if you say his name 3 times in the dark, he'll appear in your bathroom mirror. Henry West was a big fan of the NWA women's wrestling, which at that point, there wasn't a lot of NWA female talent. And those who did wrestle in the NWA weren't very good. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jaden. You were a talent scout for wrestling promotions in that timetable. Tell me, who were the great names of the NWA in the early 2000s?
Well, there was Casey Carlisle.
Sure, and she came along a little bit later, but yes, absolutely. I will give you Casey Carlson. She was on the show. She was an absolute sweetheart. If you listen to her talk for 15 minutes, you fall in love with her. Go ahead.
And there was like, who was that, DKM?
Mischief.
Mischief, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome Kong.
The Kong, yeah.
Okay.
Leilani Kai.
Okay.
It was a little past her prime then, but
yeah, but look, she's a fair name to add to that, right?
Dr. Simone was wrestling at that time, even before she became champion.
Who?
And
Tasha Simone.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Tasha Simone came on to this, the original podcast. And, we talked about women's wrestling. And at the state of time of nationally recognized wrestling promotions, the WWE was the promotion. And their women's wrestling was mostly featured bra and panty matches, which I didn't have any time for. I didn't find those to be interesting or compelling or fun product. And having a daughter who, was in 2008 was old enough to watch wrestling with me, I would be embarrassed if I turned on WWE and had to explain what a bra and panties match is. I mean, that's very tacky, and I don't feel like that ever had a place in pro wrestling. Now, when it came to genuine women's wrestling, I think during that time frame, TNA is where really, even though the title had a goofy ass name called the Knockouts Championship, they had some pretty stellar talent in the ring for those shows. And there were other wrestling promotions on the independents that really did take women's wrestling seriously. Ring of Honor's sister promotion, I think it was
Shimmer.
Right?
Shimmer, yeah.
Shimmer did an excellent job of presenting women's wrestling. But, at the same time, in that same space, there was a pretty well-known wrestling promotion that featured topless matches.
Women's Extreme Wrestling or something like that, right?
Yeah, Women's Extreme Wrestling, something. Yeah, exactly. And it was what one step forward, one step back, and it's I felt like if you were a fan of the wrestling at that time, you weren't really a fan of the wrestling. You were a fan of the ladies, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like that kind of cheapened the sport that I enjoyed. And
I think what Jay's trying to say is you were a perv if you like wrestling in some of those situations.
In some of those situations, absolutely. Bra and panty matches is nothing more than just a peep show for guys who can't get dates. I said it. Look, I was the guy that couldn't get a date at some times. I get it. But if you want to watch that kind of entertainment, the internet has lots of it. It's available. You don't have to put wrestling and tarnish that image of sports entertainment into erotica. I just don't like the crossover, and it just feels icky to me,
At the time, by the way, since we're going back to women's wrestling, NWA Dog used Jenny Rose and Sumi Sakai.
Yeah. Not Sumi Saki, I can never get her name right. Sakai.
Sumi Sakai, yeah. You never can get Japanese names right.
I do pretty good with a few of them.
Who was the former NWA heavyweight champion that also held the national and the North American?
Tokyo Monster Kahagas.
Now, what did you used to call him?
I think one time I said Kahangas, and you guys never let me hear the end of it.
At one time, meaning from 2012 to 2016, right?
It's not that you said it. It's the way you would spell his name on the board.
Well, in my defense, I used to also write Bork Lesnar, so. Matthew Underwood, Heather Locklear did not babysit Jungle Girl. Jungle Girl is a grown-ass woman in the late 90s. She wasn't being babysat by Heather Locklear. Come on.
Jungle Girl.
Steve G says he thinks Lopez is gone as well. I'm not super familiar with the WoW talent. I do have a few favorites that are there. I did enjoy, when we start the show, I think she's called The Student. But to start the show, we have Lois Grain from the Southern California independent scene. I think she wrestles as The Student in WoW.
This is Lois Grain here, and I'm advising you to do yourself a favor and watch the Alliance Guys podcast.
So,
Student, it's more like Sailor Moon.
It was a Halloween themed wrestling show, and she was in gimmick. She was also wearing a hat that said Butts, Butts, which I bought for DKM and sent it to him, and he didn't even wear it when I came and visited him. I was so disappointed.
It's in my closet.
That's where I put all the hats I don't like to wear.
Let me ask you this question. How many times have you seen me wear a hat?
This is true. I have never seen you wear a hat.
I have to. I sunburn if they changed all the lights at the same time in a store. So I have to wear a hat to keep my head safe.
This is true. I have met Jaden in person, and he shines it up real nice.
I am so solar powered, since I am the solar powered love machine, that I just can't charge that battery up for that much,
Sure.
I heard they tried taking him to a beach one time and he burst into flames.
It's true. I'm not white. I'm translucent.
That just made me think of Deadpool and Wolverine. What a great movie! If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. It's fantastic. I loved it.
I've had sour cream call me white.
What does mayonnaise call you?
We don't deal with mayonnaise in this household. It's disgusting.
I went to a school with a girl that just almost as white as Jaden, and I remember one time she got a sunburn, and I swear it just looked like there was a very light pinkish glow under her skin. The rest was pale. And you know how sunburn fades and turns to a tan?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah. Hers faded and turned to eggshell white instead of bright white.
I know you guys look at me and say, hey, that guy is a white guy. And I am a white guy, but I don't really get bad sunburns. I get a day burn, and then I get this nice kind of like almost olive look to my skin. And my wife hates me because she's like jealous that she wishes she had the same kind of whatever it is that causes my skin to do that. And 2 out of my 3 daughters have that. And one of them doesn't ever leave the house, so she's almost translucent.
Yes, I'm that way.
Let's get to some more of the comments in the chat. The original WoW tag champions were the ladies who wore orange jumpsuits. I don't remember what their names were either, and I guess I could look it up. Right? I could do that.
Were you looking up at a Wikipedia, or were you looking up on the WoW website?
I look it up on Cage Match because I don't trust Wikipedia that much. And the website didn't really website seemed to be leaving off some of the titles too. Right now, speaking of Hollywood, Haley J, she's one half of the current WoW tag team champions. But let's see. WoW tag team champions were the Cage Heat, Delta Lotta Payne, and Loca. What the? Delta Lotta Payne? That's amazing. Delta Lotta Payne. Good job. Then Amber O'Neal and Santana Garrett, both of them former NWA World Women's Champions. Adrenaline and Fire, who I have no idea who they are. Miami's Sweet Heat, that's the twins I was mentioning earlier, Laura Carlson and Lindsay Carlson. Team Spirit, which was Coach Campanelli and Randy Rara. The names in WoW are great. The Tonga Twins, Chaos and Kona. Then Miami's Sweet Heat regained the tag titles. And now the Mother Truckers are the champions. And there was a match that was taped where Rays and Heidi Howitzer won the tag titles, and because Heidi Howitzer was injured and there was blood, they could not use that match, and then so they just pretend like it never happened.
Sometimes I think we pretend this show never happens.
Kinda.
Sometimes we pretend power never happens.
I have.
You don't watch it. Matthew Underwood said it's not like Max was jobbing before Effie's tantrum. That is true. Matthew Underwood, going back to the whole Max conversation, Max never did job in the NWA. I mean, Max was usually on the winning end of the pay window, for sure. But I don't know if, again, I don't really know the motivation.
But she had lost a couple of times.
Say that again?
She had lost a couple of times.
Now I want to look it up.
Yeah, I can tell you. She lost to Camille.
You're right. You're right.
Lost to Kinky Page.
Okay.
And
that's a couple.
And she may have, that is a couple right there. And she may have lost another one. I remember she had a one with Taya Valkyrie that I don't remember how that one ended.
So Max the Impaler beat Ella Envy. She teaming with Chelsea Green. She defeated Genocide and Misa Kate. She defeated Ella Envy and Taya Valkyrie in a triple threat. She won the Mildred Burke Invitational in 2022. She lost to Camille on the night number 2 of the 74th anniversary show.
They.
Oh, excuse me, they. I apologize. I do mean they. Sorry, there's a lot of women's names there, so I'm getting thrown off. Angelina Love, Max the Impaler, and Natalia Markova defeated Pretty in Power for the Queen Bee first round. The NWA World Television title qualifying 5-way elimination, Jordan Clearwater defeated Caprice Coleman, Max the Impaler, and Rush Freeman and the Pope. Max the Impaler defeated Natalia Markova and Taryn Terrell. Max the Impaler defeated Natalia Markova, and that's the match that DKM and I were at, the Voodoo Queen casket match. Kayla Cassidy and Samantha Starr, there's some names from the past, defeated Ashley D'Amboise and Max the Impaler. Ashley D'Amboise and Max the Impaler defeated Natalia Markova and Roxy. The Looks That Kill, Mercurio and Markova defeated Genocide and Max the Impaler. So yeah, I mean, they have lost a few matches. Max the Impaler defeats Natalia Markova. Max the Impaler defeats Taya Valkyrie. Kenzie Page defeats Max the Impaler to win the TV title in the finals of the tournament. The Miserably Faithful, Judas and Max the Impaler defeat the Miserably Faithful, Gags the Gimp and Sal the Pal.
By the way, help save Sal's house.
I think they did. I think actually, believe it or not, Seth Rollins came through with a big donation to that to Sal's GoFundMe.
They go back for Ring of Honor, so.
Well, it's a cool move, right? Because look, Seth Rollins doesn't owe anybody anything, right? He's got a wife, he's got a kid. He put in his dues. The smile of fortune's shined upon him. He's very successful. He's probably a millionaire, multimillionaire.
Got a horrible laugh.
Yeah, he's done really well for himself. So for him to break off $5,000 to Sal Renaro, again, doesn't make that big of a difference for Seth Rollins, but it's a huge deal for a guy like Sal. I think that's such a classy act. And, I was more or less indifferent to Seth Rollins before as a person. I didn't really know him. I didn't really have a negative thing to say about him. Now I think he's a good dude.
I always like Tyler Black better.
Do you remember when they teamed Tyler Black and what's his name? He used to wear furry boots. They their team name in the MTV Wrestling, Wrestling Society X, they were Do It For Her.
Was it
Jimmy Jacobs?
Yeah.
I got there. Wow, that we took a weird turn there, but yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Matthew Underwood, you're correct. Max the Impaler did not really. They were not really jobbing out before Effie's tantrum, but
they weren't men's TV champion before Effie's tantrum either.
This is true. Speaking of Natalia Markova, Billy wants to know what the plan is for her. And I will say this, Billy's always treated Markova like a star. I feel like that's true. But they have not really found a place for Markova currently. Now, this could change. We don't know what happens at the territory shows that lead up to the anniversary show. We won't know that until probably next month. I'm imagining that Markova is going to be leveraged for some sort of title shots at the 75th anniversary show, but I don't know that. I don't know anything for certain. All we do know with 100% certainty is that the champions will defend their titles mostly, and that there will be a Burke Invitational to crown a new number one contender, and there's a cage match or a grudge match between the Southern Six and Murnochs.
Did they do that already?
Yeah, they did a cage match. This is considered a grudge match. What they're doing is they're putting the, without involving blunt force trauma, you're putting the 2023 Crockett Cup champions up against the 2024 Crockett Cup champions. And that matchup kind of has at least implications that the winner of that match will probably go on to start challenging for the World Tag titles.
Hey, going back to Power for a second.
Why? Okay.
What do you
Go back
think,
to like 93 subjects ago.
Yeah, about 79 subjects ago. What do you think of the new U.S. Tag Team Champions, their first two-time U.S. Tag Team Champions under Billy?
So I'm going to say this.
Or do you care anything one way or the other about the U.S. Tag Team titles?
I'm going to say this, and I don't think this is a controversial statement, but I think that Daisy Kills has a shit ton of upside. I think that guy could be very, very good. He's, like you put him in the ring with giants and he does look like a small dude, but he's over 6'3". At least that's what they said on commentary. I feel like he has a good look. I feel like he has a good promo. I feel like he's pretty good in the ring. I don't know why they keep shoving him in this tag team with Talos. At first he brought in the Giant as kind of like an insurance policy, but since then they've been teaming together. Them winning the U.S. tag titles, I think it's not like incendiary. It's not burning anybody up. I don't think anyone's saying, hey, no, the Fixers got screwed. I don't think they've done enough to establish the tag titles to make me care about the tag titles. So I think it's kind of a moot point. I don't think I care about the titles, but I do like Daisy Kills. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I said this maybe a couple weeks ago. I'm not exactly sure, but when I got to see him live when we were at Crockett Cup, and I was actually standing not too far from him, before the show, I was looking at him. I was like you. I go, this guy has a lot.
We're talking about Daisy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the right look, even with his hair. He's got the right size. He's got the right build. He's got the wrong name. I think it's a little bit hard to take him seriously with that name. He's got the wrong gimmick because it's hard to take him seriously playing a ukulele and, singing. I think that was part of Elias's problem. It was hard to take Elias seriously. And it's just like, if I like Kills for the last name, but if we could update, drop the Daisy, just change it to something else. I don't care. Break the ukulele over somebody's head and, never see it again. I think this guy in the ring, he seems talented enough.
You know what I would.
I think he's somebody you could build in the same vein as a Thrillbilly.
Yeah, see, there you go. That you just said the magic phrase, like Thrillbilly, because he seems to be the blueprint, at least for my mind, of what the NWA should be doing with its talent. You find these, to steal a term, zirconiums in the rough, and you give them these opportunities to be showcased. And when they take off, you lock them up to a contract and you push them to the moon. At least that's what your boy Jay would do if he was running the NWA. But obviously I'm not. When I see Daisy Kills, I kind of get a little bit Brian Pillman and a little bit, Raven, Scotty Flamingo, Johnny Polo, whatever you want to call him. I kind of feel like that's the person he's supposed to be, and he's not quite there yet. And I don't know if it's the NWA's decision on how to book him or if that's his own insertion of the character of who he thinks Daisy Kill is. The name doesn't even bother me, to be honest with you. I don't. It used to, but now that I know him as Daisy Kills, so that's fine. You're right about the ukulele; it kills it for me. But he could be a killer. We don't need the ukulele. Let Aaron Stevens be his manager. Get him away from Vampire. I don't like that work. I don't like that chemistry. And honestly, if Talos is going to be around, he needs to be the sidekick, not the partner. He needs to be the Big Daddy Cool to Shawn Michaels. He could still be around, but let's not put the emphasis on him as a member of the team. He is the bodyguard. He is the backup.
How long has Talos been around in wrestling? To me, he still seems pretty green.
Well, he was doing matches, at least I know, in United Wrestling Network almost 2 years ago. I was familiar with Talos before he showed up in the NWA because of what I had seen from him from the United Wrestling Network. And I didn't think he was good there either, but I knew he was a big guy. Jack Talos, 7 foot tall. He's 33 years old. At one point, he was in WWE development. How long has he been wrestling? His first match looks like it was in 2021. He's wrestled for TNA Wrestling, Coastal Championship Wrestling. He did a few matches out here in Southern California. Again, he was part of the United Wrestling Network for a brief time. Did some matches with Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. Did some, and then right after his time in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, he started in the NWA.
Okay, I look at Kills and Talos, and I think they could both be something. I do think Daisy Kills is further along. I don't know how long he's been wrestling, but he seems further along in the development stage. And as Jim Cornette says, being green's kind of a state of mind too.
Sure.
It's not just how long you've been in the business. And I really think Daisy Kills is, and you could even keep Daisy in there because it could be ironic in a way.
Yeah.
If you made him that kind of killer wrestler, which I think he would actually do well. I mean, in that role, it's kind of a tough guy, and they could do that with him. I don't think it'd be very hard, and he certainly has talent to me. I think Talos you could kind of put in there as I'd probably separate the two of them now just because of the way their thing is going. But yeah, he could either.
Well, they just won the tag titles, so I don't think you're going to separate them anytime soon.
No, well, that's Billy Corgan we're talking about. They may be split apart already. We don't know.
They're feuding actually at the 76. They're in a steel cage match.
Yeah, I mean, we're totally unaware. But I don't know, Jaden. Have you seen either one of them enough since you don't watch to have? Well,
He said, "Bye."
Yeah.
A no would have been fine, Jaden. You could have said, "I refuse to answer that question based on I don't have enough information." That's fine.
I don't think he.
Sorry, I had to leave. You guys were sounding robot-y for a change. It wasn't me, so I had to go back.
Okay.
All right.
It's funny because DK, he's like, "Hey, Jaden, what do you think?" And then you dropped off just like that. I was like, "No, I don't think about that. Nope, I'm good."
Yes.
So anyway, Jaden, I know you don't watch the show, so I don't know if you've seen either one of them enough. But do you have any opinions on Daisy Kill or Talos?
Daisy Kill physically reminds me of Brian Pillman and Heavy Metal Van Hammer's love child.
See, I said Pillman and Raven. That's funny.
But
that's where I would get the Van Hammer from.
I haven't seen Talos, I don't believe that I can remember, other than the Harry Harryhausen movie Sinbad. But there's a deep cut for you. Mecha Wolf, yay!
Real quick,
there's somebody that should be a champion.
I don't know if Mecha's even still in the chat because obviously he looked like he was getting bored. I'll say this. I'm super excited that this Saturday, not next weekend, this Saturday, I'm going to pull out the Mecha Wolf t-shirt. I'm going to go down to TJ, and I'm sitting like third row just so I can see my guy Mecha Wolf. It's not a cheap ticket. Even in TJ, the peso to dollar ratio is a little bit more favorable for us Americans, but I'm paying for that third row seat, like a $45 ticket, and I'm gonna be there to watch Mecha Wolf. He's gonna kick some ass, always does, and the TJ fans love that guy. There's two guys that TJ crowd always pops for. It doesn't matter what show it is, and that's Mecha Wolf. Without a doubt, Mecha Wolf pops that place, and Willie Mack, and both those guys are wrestling on Saturday night. I'm so excited. Not in the same match, unfortunately, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Max should wrestle at TJ, be TJ Maxx.
Okay, quick question.
Yes.
After Jaden finishes with Talos, if he hasn't already, what title would you want to put on Mecha Wolf to start him off? The World Junior Heavyweight title or the TV title?
TV title.
TV title?
Yeah, perfect championship to start him up as a singles wrestler.
Did you have anything else on Talos, or just you haven't seen him enough?
I haven't seen Talos at all, I don't think, that I could remember. I've seen Daisy Kill once or twice on various things, and I think I saw him get his ass kicked by Trevor Murdoch once, maybe.
Yes.
That's actually how he was introduced. He was going against Murdoch, and that wasn't a smart thing.
Yeah. He's got a good look, a good size. He does have some talent. I don't know enough about him to give a true opinion, honestly. Haven't seen him. Don't watch Power. Definitely refuse to watch it on the CW app. Solidarity for our international customers. Fans. But we miss you too.
Now let me give my answer on Mecha Wolf because he's still in the chat, I hope. I feel like he's one of the most versatile guys when he's in the NWA, when he's wrestling for Billy, because you can put him in a tag team, and obviously the work he did with Bastia was great. I feel like they were teasing putting him and what's his name? Alex Misery together as a tag team. I think that it could have worked. I think Mecha Wolf would have had to kind of carry some of the work in that match, and that's not just to kiss his ass because he might be in the chat still. But I think Alex Misery still wasn't to that level yet that I think Mecha Wolf is. But if we're gonna slot him somewhere in the NWA today in a title division, a singles title, I think personally I would put him at the TV title because right now I don't feel like there is a lot of talent in that division. And I'm not taking away from Alex Taylor. I'm not taking away from Colby Carino, but you just lost Joe Alonzo. And I feel like if you slotted Mecha Wolf into that division, it instantly gets a lot more entertaining and a lot more creative. And with, again, the TV title situation as it is, I'd love to see I would love to see Mecha Wolf take the title off of Max and get that TV title defended more frequently. But I'd like to see him in that junior heavyweight division because they need it. The national champion right now, Tom Latimer, great talent. I think he's doing a great job, and I want to see what story they have to tell with him. But as far as the junior heavyweight title and the television title, I think you could put a good talent in either one of those, and they would be beneficial for the NWA. Mecha Wolf's a good talent.
I'm going to may I, DK?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the same thing I said when I thought about breaking up, but not necessarily splitting up. La Rebellion, not La Rebellion. him and Bestia.
Yeah,
Love Rebellion. Yeah. I always thought Bestia was a better junior heavyweight because Mechel's got too much thickness. It's like 7 Ks and a Q.
Well, I don't know if you know this. You haven't seen him wrestle in a while. I've seen him a lot in the last, well, not a lot, but I've seen him quite a bit in the last 6 months. And he was getting in a lighter weight. And I don't know if that was to try to get to the NWA junior heavyweight division, but he's a big guy and he had put on a lot of mass. And I think he was, I don't know if it's the right phrase, but I think he was leaning out because he looked a lot like still healthy, still in good shape, but not nearly as big when I saw him last.
Well, get in the bulking phase so you can win the TV title there, Mechelov. Get in that bulking phase. Take that good bulking protein and some creatine. And
you don't need to tell that guy how to bulk up. He knows how to do that.
Well, yeah, just get him in the bulking phase here. Now it's bulking season. The summer body season's running out. You started bulking up now for the winter. That way you could also eat a little more during the holidays.
Eat.
You're giving workout advice to a guy who looks great.
Yes, I've seen a lot of people that look great. Doesn't mean you can't look better.
Hey, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're
I
right.
know this one guy. I know this one guy who's been absolutely killing it in the gym recently, and has looked really good. And he's even when he didn't want to go to the gym the other day, he went out there and did what he had to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No. I take my stance back. You're right. I know body guys. Let me say that differently. I don't know body guys. There are a lot of body guys in the world of professional wrestling, and I know that they have a very close-knit circle, and they talk about how to get bigger and stuff like that. But if you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. I don't mean to take that away from you, Jaden. I know that that's your kind of wheelhouse. I'm just saying, like, Mechelwolf knows how to bulk.
There was this one guy who was talking about, I don't need anybody to tell me how to bulk. And I told him, like, yeah, but you're so much smaller than everybody else that comes in here. And that really hurt him.
You don't have to tell me how to bulk up.
That's right, Daddy. We go to Pizza Hut, Daddy. We go to Johnny Rockets, Daddy. We get those burgers. We get those fries. We get those shakes, Daddy.
Yes.
I don't give a shit today. I'm giving us. Paladin says, "Hey Jay, thoughts on Camille's in-ring debut on Dynamite?" So I didn't get to see her wrestling match, but I did see what she did to Britt Baker. I like it. I know a lot of people are saying, "Hey, they're wasting her by making her a bodyguard." It's such a great way to introduce the character, to let the fans get familiar with her. Hell, for the fans to dislike her, so that when her inevitable babyface turn happens, they're going to be invested. This is great. I don't always think that AEW does the right booking, and I don't always agree with how they portray characters. I am totally cool with the way that they're portraying Camille. I can't wait to see what happens next. And if subsequently it leads to a showdown in a year with Mercedes Moné and Camille for the TBS title, then I'm going to be there for it. I think it'll be a great match. And I think a great story if done correctly.
Yeah, I don't mind it either, even if Camille might end up being Camille Low 2.2.0. But, Mercedes Moan's annoying, but it has star power. Can't cut a promo. Yeah, Mercedes the Moaner. It's better than Sasha the Whiner.
Okay.
Yep. And who knows how long it's going to take for Mercedes Moaner to grab her belts and walk out the door. But right now that Mercedes does have some star power and recognize and look and familiarity, and if it brings more eyes to Camille, who looks different than anything in AEW, and Britt Baker's well known and well regarded in the industry, and has made a comeback and is out there, and then add into the fact that it'll probably means that Jamie Hayter will be back. So that's something I think that could be, Jamie Hayter, which was the bodyguard of Britt Baker, That's something they could build up for the future.
Yeah.
I still hate the red hair, though.
I posted the link to the match in the comments. So if anyone wants to go see that after the show.
Wait. Sorry, the comments are guiding me. Jeremy says it's a good way to introduce her, but she's got to lose the Bane mask for fuck's sake. Wasn't the Bane mask just at the Comic-Con? Did they wear it after the con?
No, I think it was just a Comic-Con.
Look, I still think that's clever as hell too. I think that's funny that they brought her in and she's like Bane because Bane was badass and buff. And anyways,
although she was wearing the wrong mask for the Bane she was supposed to be.
You were born into the darkness or something like that.
Yes, that's the mask she wore.
Yeah,
but they were cosplaying as the one from
DC Universe,
Batman and Robin or something like that.
Yeah,
Bane, who was also a former professional wrestler.
Sort of, yes.
Yes. What was his name?
Jeep Swenson.
I said it first.
Yeah.
God, that was such a horrible movie.
Am I on mute?
No.
We're just ignoring you.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Now he's figured it out.
Can you read lips? Read these lips.
What did Kevin Sullivan call him in WCW?
The ultimate solution, and then they took that away, the final solution or something like that. And then they realized that was a Jewish, that was a no-no.
Yes, they said that was not correct. That's not what they were calling him. And then, so they changed it to, I don't remember which direction it went, but yes, from ultimate to final or final to ultimate.
Well, weren't they like trying to bill it as, I know they did it with the Renegade later, but weren't they trying to tiptoe on the 900 number that it was like the Ultimate Warrior was coming in?
Not for him, no.
That was just the Renegade.
That was just the Renegade when they did that. I mean, they did the Ultimate Warrior too, but that whole thing is they also brought in Tom Tiny Lister as Zeus, but he was Z Gangsta or something like that.
Z Gangster. So I did call the 900 number and I did get my mom and dad's permission before doing it because I was a huge Ultimate Warrior guy back then, and I was like, they're gonna bring in the Warrior, and it turned out to be Renegade. And I'll never forget when I called it up and I was so excited. I'm like, all right, hurry up, Gene, talk about it. Hurry up, Gene. And it's like, well, a lot of WCW fans are really excited for this next piece of news. It's like, shut up, Gene, get to the point.
If only they had the AI voices around then.
They probably did. All right. So let's I'm sorry.
I never heard Allen Iverson speak in the 90s. He was too busy skipping practice.
You talking about practice? I better not do that. Sean Mega says every company has a controversial figure.
The NWA for a long time it was Fred.
Oh.
Controversy. Never gonna let that go.
How you sat next to that gentleman, and I know that there's a lot of love and admiration for you to him and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, look, wrestling's only one part of life, right? But like, how disappointed were you at him during that time? Like, even if you can even say anything about it, because I know where you stood. I knew where you were encouraging Dr. Lawrence Draconium to leave the Alliance. How did you remain friends with him after all that?
Just because somebody makes bad decisions. I mean, it was something that I knew wasn't going to go well, and I knew there was a big fight between Dr. Zirconium and him on how even that match even was going on, what did happen, and how that happened. But I could say I was there where Dr. Z called a lot of things that were going to happen by the way things went, and exactly went that way. And he made sure he reminded Fred that a lot.
Sorry, that's funny.
But yeah, controversy doesn't always create cash.
No, sometimes it's just stupid.
Going back to Max Mim's storyline, it started at Samhain, and there is truth to that. They were in that team war thing, and they were the actual champions at the time. Max was holding the NWA Women's Television title. Mims holding the men's title, but it was the Miserably Faithful against like some sort of random combination of like Mims and I think maybe Dax Draper and some other guys. And and Mims did get pinned by Max to win that match, which I mean, sure, but that's when they probably should have started.
I complained about it at that time.
Yeah, like I didn't like it then either. But if that's when you wanted to do that feud, that storyline, then immediately following Samhain is when they should have started that storyline. Instead, they started building a storyline with Dak Draper and Mims, and I feel like if that's what you really wanted to do, that's what you should have done. Otherwise, you should have stuck to Max and Mims from the get-go. But at the same time, you're bottlenecking entire two divisions of the show, and I feel like you by putting both titles on one person, you demean the value of both titles. And it's not because it's somebody who's non-binary. I think it's because neither title is now being defended. And Max is such an integral part of the show that they're putting Max in the tag team division. Max doesn't even defend the TV titles, plural. What would have happened if they won the Crockett Cup? What would have happened if they win the tag titles? It's just, I don't know. It seems kind of silly.
I don't believe the titles even should exist anyway. They've abortionized both of them so much, and they never really should have been a women's TV title. Never made sense for there to be so. They don't have enough quality women wrestlers to do so. Don't have enough quality women wrestlers to have the women's tag titles either.
I would argue that they have enough women for the TV division, but that you don't need a tag division. You never needed a tag division. You brought in talent to crown champions, and as soon as they lost the titles, they left.
I believe I'm quoting Terry Funk, and it's been so long I don't remember. But they said to have a championship, you need 8 credible challengers for that championship that are different than any other championship. So if you have a world title and a U.S. title, you need 8 credible challengers that are not the United States champion, and then 8 separate credible challengers for the United States championship. They don't have 8 credible challengers for any championship right now.
No, I agree.
I'm sure they have 5.
They have more championships than they have credible challengers for any one of them.
Probably
I agree
a true
with that.
statement.
So until they had a fact that they had 8 credible challengers that are completely different than the challengers for the World Women's Championship, then no, they just should not have had a TV title. They don't have enough people. They even have 8 women wrestlers that are under, they generally use all the time.
Yeah, no, they definitely do that. I mean, you could say, like, look, I can name them right now. You have Kenzie Page is your women's world champion, not including Max.
Don't count. Take Kenzie out.
Kenzie out, Max out. Okay, Ella Envy, Kylie Page, Tiffany Nieves, La Princesa, La Rosa Negra, Ruthie J.
How often do they use Ruthie J? Is Ruthie J used enough?
She's actually been featured a lot. Like she's mostly the regular tag team partner with La Rosa Negra, so she gets used kind of a lot. She was at the tapings for the Crockett Cup, but only had the one match.
Okay. So you have 5.
Taylor, not Taylor.
Rising.
Taylor Rising, yeah. The blonde, the nice looking blonde lady.
That's her. Did you mention
Terrorizing? Okay, you're at 6 with Terrorizing.
Okay, now it is getting a little bit harder.
Can't say the women's tag champs because it's a different division.
Okay, I thought we were operating with the idea that there was no women's tag team. Samantha Starr. And yeah, I guess that's where we stop right there. I'm Natalia Markova. How could I forget Markova?
I just asked.
Okay, so that's for the world. That's for the World Women's Championship.
Yeah,
you have 8 challengers for that. So now, give me 8 separate challengers for the TV championship.
Oh, you don't have that, but I feel like
you had to stretch.
Well, I mean,
I don't think I stretched on the women. I think I was pretty good.
there's a balance to everything too. I mean, we talked about like even back in the old territory days, there might have been two teams that were challengers for their tag team titles, and most of them were thrown together teams. And so my thing is there should be more challengers for the women's TV championship than the women's championship, because the women's championship should be an elite level style where you can get storylines and for a while. But the TV championship is where you should be churning and burning.
Yes.
And
that championship should change hands no less than
3 times a year. We should have at least 3 champions in a year. 5 wouldn't be too many.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If you defend it 7 times and drop it, I could see 5.
I don't even mind if someone won the title and then lost it on its first defense. Like, that's the kind of unpredictability that I would like to see in my wrestling promotion, and I haven't seen that with the NWA almost ever. It almost feels like those title changes are like, hand delivered to the viewing audience. Like, when that title is going to change hands. I don't think too many of us thought that EC3 was not going to be world champion at the end of the 75th anniversary show. I don't feel like many of us were shocked when Cardona won the NWA world title, or even when Tyrus won the title the first time. Like, there's not a lot of unpredictability in the NWA.
You don't have to have unpredictability if you have good stories, though.
Sure.
At least when Murdoch won it, it was a good story.
It was a great story.
Everybody and their mother knew Cody Rhodes was leaving that WrestleMania as champion.
Yeah.
I thought he was leaving the last WrestleMania as champion too.
Yeah, but that was a Vince era, so Vince did stupid shit.
People thought it was smarter the way they did it.
It wasn't. I don't think it's smart. I think it's it's exactly. They fell in shit and came out smelling like roses.
I think the best thing that ever happened to him was The Rock trying to screw that up.
Yeah, because I think so too.
I don't think it was that exciting of a rematch idea until Rock came around.
I think there was excitement, but I think The Rock's elevated it to the next level by trying to steal it from him.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't intentional the way it happened, but the fact that it happened, I think, worked out well.
Yeah. So you know what? You can make all the plans in the world, but you also have the ability to adapt.
This is
and you have to be willing to change things on the fly. You have to be willing to make the decision to change things and not stick to your guns.
All right.
Sometimes you have to stick to your guns, and sometimes it's smart to do that, but you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them, and when to walk away, and when to run.
All right, Kenny.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, which do you think would be better? Would it be better for Max to vacate the TV titles for whatever reasons, challenge for the world championships or whatever, or should someone take the titles off of her?
I think at this point Max should vacate him, because Max has hit the point. It took forever, but at least one of them should be at that point where Max should get a shot. I never liked that whole vacate to get a shot thing. I think it's stupid, but I also don't think we would be complaining about Max if Max was defending those championships in every other power, or at least.
My whole problem with Max as champion is that the titles aren't being defended. The non-binary, that doesn't bother me. Maybe it should. I don't care. I don't care about that. If Max was having competitive matches every week in the men's division against men for the TV title, that would be interesting to me. I don't want to see, Max had a competitive match with Jake Dumas, who we normally see as more of an enhancement role for the NWA. But he had a decent match against Max, and it took Max everything that they had to retain the title. So Max beat Mims to win the title, then again took everything it took from Mims to try to win the title, and couldn't walk away as champion. I don't recall if Max won that match or if they just didn't lose the match. You know what I mean? I think it might have been a count
No,
out.
Max dominated the match where they won the title. They got in about 60-65% of the offense. Now the rematch, which was under the 6:05
time limit,
Mims looked like Mims could have won if there had been another, 10 seconds on the clock. And so now now your champion looks weak because your champion shouldn't, which is one of the things they do with that TV title is they love to make the champion look weak sometimes.
Yeah.
But, and that goes all the way back to even in the territories. So, and then the match with Dumas, they did win it, didn't they? I mean, that was
also a draw.
Was it? I thought that they got like the pin at the last moment.
But see, that's the problem, though. Why is Dumas a challenger? And if Mims would destroy Dumas, it's inconsistency that it creates a sense of disconjointedness.
Max did defeat Jake Dumas, but yes.
I hope next time Max takes that cigarette and puts it in Dumas's eye, and we get rid of Dumas.
See, part of the problem too is even though Max's bill is a monster for the women's division, they're only billed at 209 pounds.
There you go. Max wins the junior heavyweight championship next.
Yeah, don't say it too loud.
Don't give them ideas, Jaden.
And so, although they can, I'm not sure how much is Max and how much is outfit, but in with the guys, Max doesn't look that big.
No.
And so that's what I was saying. It's hard for to put Max in with any guy and have it come out okay.
So Max should give up the women's TV and lose the men's. So my idea is give up the TV and let them be able to build it up just to get it off Max. And then Max loses it to an extremely bulky Mecha Wolf against creatine, doing it in his bulking stage. And Mecha Wolf destroys Max and wins that championship.
James H. Jackson, I'm no longer talking to you.
I can see why.
I can't.
Oh, sorry.
An American title.
Which is a title now. I know it's been a while we forgot about it, but
Yeah. It's been won, probably never defended since it's not real to the universe yet. And there is nothing I hate more than that in the entire world. I was thinking that maybe Alex Taylor was supposed to win the junior heavyweight title at a Crockett Cup, and they had to move it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that way because, like, Taylor was on this episode of Power, and of course, no mention of anything. They've had to be real careful this thing of, these TV tapings because you don't know what's going to happen. So, like, they've never really talked about Crockett Cup or anything.
What can they say?
Exactly.
Why can't they do post-production commentary, though?
They could and should. They just didn't.
Well, there are lots of things that could be done. They could have done interviews after from, Crockett Cup and inserted them into the thing, but obviously they don't. They just interview up on the thing. I haven't even seen, what was it, May Valentine?
She hasn't been on TV in a while. If if the NWA really did adhere to this 20-year plan like they say they do, then like I would imagine that somewhere Billy Corgan has a special notebook, not unlike Tony Khan that books every single thing. Like I would imagine that they should have been able to shoot around this. Now the realistic part of it is they don't have this grandiose plan. If they did, it would be a lot cooler because you could shoot around this. They could have, look, we know how we're going to do it. We know how we're going to make it work. And like DK just said, or Jaden said, post-production edits. Like, why not?
Well, it would have to be post-production edits. And the reason I'll say that is because they would have thought probably that Thrillbilly and Kerry Morton won the Crockett Cup. And so if you would have filmed day 2 with that in there, where commentary and everybody was going, oh, Thrillbilly and Crockett, or instead of just saying like the Southern Six or whatever, then you have your trouble. And so you don't know what injuries are going to happen. You don't know what things are going to happen. And so you got to be careful. But yeah, you can still do that in post-production. You can still do things. Oddly, I was watching an old Central States thing, and they were showing Harley Race defend the world title, but they had an interview with Ric Flair, who had actually regained the world title since that match. And so, but it was in there, and they were able to say, hey, this happened. And they did some post-production things, so that even when he was defending his title, they were like, well, this was back before Harley Race lost the belt. Oddly, he was defending the title against Ted DiBiase, who was the heel.
DiBiase was the heel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Harley was not the heel in St. Louis and in Central States.
Right.
Harley was definitely the babyface in that territory. He was heel everywhere else, but he was never a heel. I can't say he was never a heel, but he was not a heel.
Yeah, well, and he could be a heel there sometimes, but not normally while world champion.
No.
And kind of like Flair often was a face in
the Carolinas, yeah.
In the Carolinas, up until really '85 when
Dusty decided he wanted to be the face.
Well, not just that, but then they started. That's when they took over the TBS slot, and so since it was going out more, they had to make him consistent.
And the Horsemen were just great.
Oh, that was great.
Do you know when I first started watching the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, Flair was feuding with Tully Blanchard.
See, by the time I got into the NWA, the Horsemen were already formed. And it was already like Arn, Tully, Wyndham. No, it was Luger. Yeah, it was Luger and Flair. That was the Horsemen I was introduced to.
Well, it's really difficult since it was an organic thing and not a company thing. It's really hard sometimes to figure out when the Horsemen formed. And one of the things, because they would show like Tully, with like Arn and Ole and stuff, but Tully would also, or J.J. Dillon would also talk about Tully wanting to challenge for the world title.
Yeah, because Flair was kind of a babyface for a while.
Yeah, they tried to tween him.
I don't think Flair was a heel until Dusty decided he wanted to be the top babyface. I think that was the true catalyst. Because don't forget also, besides at the time, Flair was also feuding with Buddy Landell, who was managed by James St. Dillon.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the whole thing. Over Metal, I was there the entire and watched it happen live, and that's why I said, I go, it's not the Four Horsemen did not form as a stable because one day they were there. It was literally the four of them hanging out and Arn Anderson saying something off the cuff, and nobody can actually find that promo.
Well, I have it right here. Let me play it. Just kidding.
Yeah, and so it got said somewhere, I think, in the TBS studio, and so a group of fans, heel-liking fans, started showing up dressed in suits, carrying signs that said the Four Horsemen. Well, that got spread out, and so all over the territory, people started showing up with the Four Horsemen thing, and you know, they went to Jim Crockett and said, "We've got to take advantage of this." You know, that's how it happened.
86, I would have been 8 years old, I guess.
Yes, and I was watching it. You were born in 77, right?
I'm
78.
You've been 9.
Okay.
I was 18.
Now you guys know how old DKM and I are.
I'm 56. I acknowledge it. So
46 in November. It's going to be a hell of a party. I think they're going to actually lower.
I'm older than you, so you're 78, right?
Yeah.
I'm 77. Okay, so I'm older than you. I'm the middle child of this group.
I'm the youngest Alliance guy, and I formed the group.
Are you younger than Tim?
I'm younger than Tim. I'm older than Kevin. Kevin was the only one younger than me.
Scooby?
I think Scooby's older than me. I know Jeremy's older than me. I think Jeremy and you, I think, are the same age.
But do you remember who came up with the name, the Alliance guys?
I think that was you.
It was. And I just threw it out. I threw it out there as a joke.
So the show's name initially was
Talk NWA.
No. That's even before that. When I first started, it was just the NWA Pro Wrestling Report. That was the first episode. Then I was like, I can't keep using the NWA name because at some point they're coming after me. So then I started using Alliance Wrestling Radio, the creepiest radio ever. And then when I tried to do a whole Talk NWA thing, it's an era of good feelings with the NWA. So I did Talk NWA, and that's when you guys officially came on. Well, no, you guys were a part of the Alliance Radio too, but that's where like we kind of were doing all those episodes every Saturday or every other Saturday. And
we did it on Saturday, didn't we?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, we did almost every Saturday.
Yeah.
During the day.
Yeah, it was like at noon.
Noon, yeah, my time, noon.
Yeah, so and it was like it was easy because on Saturday, none of us had jobs that required us to work on Saturday. And it was before shows for you guys or events for Jaden, so it worked out quite well. And I remember the baby crying in the other room, like, "All right, guys, I gotta go check on the baby."
What alliance-wrestling.com.
Yep. And we did Talk NWA, and then when Bruce bought the NWA, I was like, I don't want to get a cease and desist letter, so we dropped the Talk NWA, and then we became the Alliance guys.
Yes.
And then Jeremy says, "Wait, Jay, you're younger than me." And we've had this conversation. You might have forgot, but Jeremy, you're 77, correct? Because I'm 78.
I thought you meant his age.
Yeah. Wow, he's not that old.
Oh, shit. You guys are so old. And then Overmetal says, "Hey, regardless, Tuesday Pollo stream is fun. Watch, especially to talk shop with Pollo. Paul does a lot for the NWA. Power could borrow a lot from that era of the Mid-Atlantic." You don't have to tell us about Pollo. We all think the best of Pollo. I think Pollo has a seat here waiting for them whenever they want to come on the show. That's for sure. I've supported Pollo in their endeavors outside of the NWA as well, and yeah, we think nothing but the best of Pollo. It's just, you know, I don't mean to sound egotistical here. I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but every week I'm spending at least 3 hours in front of the camera talking about wrestling, and I don't really want to go spend an hour or so watching more people talk about wrestling. And that's, I mean, Pollo's great, and I have tuned in for that, but you know, it's only so many hours in the day. I want to go spend time with my family. I want to go watch, you know, something that's not wrestling related sometimes, like a young Sheldon.
Like Batman Cape Crusader, which I binged the first 5 episodes of.
That's a new one that just came out?
Yep.
On what?
Max?
Prime.
Oh, Prime?
Yep.
Oh, I got Prime.
Max didn't want it. So
that whole I heard some stuff the other day about some of these from somebody in the TV industry, and they were telling me that Paramount is basically getting sold, and for less money than what Disney paid for, like the not the Star Wars, but the studio.
Lucas.
Yeah, the Lucasfilms. I think they paid less for Lucasfilms than what Paramount's getting sold for, and it's like not just Paramount, but CBS and all those TV channels. They're worth millions, billions of dollars annually, and some of those stations on advertising alone. And it's like that got sold for that little money.
Well, the person who's buying it, or I guess the company that bought it, already owned the majority of it anyway, I believe.
Okay, I guess I wasn't privy to that part.
Yeah.
The whole thing sounds crazy to me, and it's you know, the other thing I found out too is that so the CW spent a lot of money to have the WWE NXT program on its television channels.
Yes.
It's not going to be on the CW app.
No, it never was.
No. So NXT, for those of you who are fans of the CW, like, yeah, you'll be able to watch it on the channel, but not on the app. And then contrarily, or
now wait a minute. Everybody's been yelling at me and telling me how streaming's the way it goes. And, you know, that's what everybody's after and what everybody wants. So are you trying to tell me that the deal is only for television?
This is what I heard.
Mm.
And
I've heard a similar thing because I believe somebody else owns the broadcast, the streaming rights for it.
Yeah, well, so what happens is right now, or I guess in 2025, when all of the channels all of the programs have found their new homes, Raw will be on Netflix, SmackDown will be on USA, and NXT will be on CW. Now, of course, USA is owned by Universal, which owns Peacock. But all 3 of those shows and all 3 of those streaming platforms or whatever, they're all going to be advertising for premium live events that are only available on Peacock. So the CW channel is going to feature NXT, but those, you know, those takeovers, the NXT takeovers, or they gave them all the WCW names, whatever they're calling them now, those are all going to only be on Peacock. So each month or 2 months is leading up to an event you have to go see on Peacock.
But at least the Peacock can be seen internationally.
Yeah. Well, and then for in the United States for SmackDown, that it's gonna, or excuse me, Raw will be on Netflix. So in the United States, they're going to be building up to this pay-per-view, and then tell you to go watch it on another streaming service, right? That's kind of funny if you think about it. Elsewhere in the world, the WWE Network is on Netflix. That's the whole thing. So, but I just figure that's wild that Netflix and CW are basically going to be advertising for Peacock.
Well, there was controversy about that when it came to Fox, because Fox would be advertising for stuff that was on an NBC product.
Yeah, no, and that's very interesting concept too. It's like if your pay-per-views are now exclusive to the streaming service that is in competition with that company, it's like, wow, it's smart for the WWE, right? It's smart for whoever's hosting those premium live events. It's kind of stupid for somebody to pay for a show and then not have the payoff available to their audience.
There was also a time where the WWE main event was on Ion,
Yes.
but the Hulu had the exclusive rights to broadcast it for the streaming. And then when they kept the streaming rights because they went to just main event became the international show that they used to syndicate internationally, and the only place you could see main event in the United States was on Hulu.
That's totally what the NWA should do right now. Sorry. I just totally jumped. My brain just jumped out of my head there for a minute. They should totally just do pre-recorded matches from that don't air on the CW, and just load up a half-hour program on YouTube with the NWA storyline, not necessarily the matches, and then point everyone to go subscribe to the CW app, and then you're kind of serving everybody. Like if you watch just the half-hour show, you get a match and you know what's going on with the storylines. And I think I just solved world hunger. I think I'm in.
Except for the contracts don't allow that. There's very little the NWA can broadcast that could be broadcast anywhere else but the CW app.
Well, okay. What if they went through the vault, though? What if they pulled out matches from the past?
That doesn't help with anything currently. And they kind of do that now, right? Where eventually a pay-per-view match shows up on their YouTube.
Yeah, like they just
live event.
Like in the last month or so, dropped the Matt Cardona EC3 Ultimate Match of Death world title match.
You should have got the garbage.
Yeah. Gentlemen, it's been 2 hours and 8 minutes. How much longer you want to keep talking about this stuff?
I'm done.
About an hour and 59 minutes less.
Bazinga. All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in to this kind of a bullshit episode of the Alliance Guys live stream.
Should change the name to the I Don't Care Thursday.
Just this Thursday. I don't want to do it every Thursday. Look, if we're being honest here for a minute, I would love to be a lot more professional and have a more well-rounded show. And hey, these are the topics we're going to talk about and have everything well researched. I don't have enough time in the day to do all that. Love you guys, but
winner.
You know what? I'll give you $5. You do it.
Well, he did for like a week.
He did, yeah, he did actually.
He didn't give me
it for free.
He did it for free, yeah. I'll send you a hat.
We should call the ADHD hour.
He never wears a hat. That's the joke, you see, because he doesn't wear hats. I send him a hat; it's useless.
He should wear a mask.
Hey,
we're sending the mask.
What makes you think I'm not wearing a mask?
This is a one of a kind. It almost looks like the TV title.
One of a kind.
Time to drink a Voltron. Wait, what? A Voltron Volume 5? A Blue Line?
Yes. Yes. Weren't you there when we were talking about that on the Discord? Which guys you should join the Discord?
I guess I missed that. There is a Voltron beer?
Yes.
I'm going to Bevmo, guys. I'll see you soon.
To Venmo?
We have a beverages and more store, and they call it Bevmo, Bevmo. And
do they take Venmo and Bevmo?
I don't know. I know the first time I ever went to Texas, I was in a dry county, and you couldn't buy alcohol on the weekends. And in California, if I go to like a grocery store, I can still buy beer, wine, and alcohol, hard alcohol, all that stuff. I don't have to go to a specific store. But when I was in Texas in the early 2000s, if you went to a grocery store, you could buy beer, but you couldn't buy alcohol. And for that, you had to go to a real liquor store. Liquor stores in California are like, oh, you get your cupcakes, your snacks, your Slurpees or ices or whatever, your drinks. And yeah, they have beer and wine, but that's where you get your energy drinks. When you say liquor store, it confuses me.
Liquor stores in New Jersey, you can't buy beer or any alcohol except for liquor stores, and only to a certain time on Sunday.
Oh, that's so weird.
Well, here you can't buy on Sundays. You can't buy until after noon, after 12 o'clock.
That's really weird to me. Like, I'm in a state where everyone thinks that we're all super communists and hippies, but like, they don't tell us when we can buy our alcohol, though. They don't not bossing us around.
Yeah, they definitely do here, but there's also a lot more density. Well, I don't know, not more dense than LA, but there's a population density. My state is the most population dense state in the union, and
LA's pretty spread. It's a big city.
So where
only 3W, what?
I think he's doing voice to text and it's churned on him. So I think Los Angeles has probably got a higher population density than New Jersey, the whole state. But I think if you take California versus New Jersey, I'm sure you're more densely populated. There's a lot of areas of California that are barren. Like, where I live now, like 10 years ago, it was just Dairyland. So
Baron von Storm.
There it is.
Real quick though, you know why that you could buy alcohol over in California, right?
Why is that?
Because California likes to party. California.
Keep going.
Likes to party in the city.
The city. Good old Watts. All right. Quickly, let's plug stuff and get out of here. DKM, you want people following you, or were you done with that?
I'm done.
FWTX. FWTX.
Did he just say fuck off?
Yeah.
I said F. I'm trying to keep you monetized. You said it.
Yes. Bleep that.
They're going to go through and edit this.
On all those British shows that I keep sending to DK, that I found that discovered, they say feck. Mrs. Brown's Boys, by the way, is funny. I finally found a few full episodes of it.
And of course, you got to watch Are You Being Served?
Yes, and Keeping Up Appearances. Very great British sitcoms.
Oh,
very good show.
But you got to keep up. What's her name?
Hyacinth?
No, hi on Are You Being Served? The one with the cat.
Mrs. Slocum.
But yes.
Betty Slocum.
You have to listen to her talk about her cat.
Yes.
Do I have to?
Oh,
it's hilarious.
Yes. It's the funniest thing. Just wait till the episode where it was raining and she,
And Mr. Humphreys was pretty awesome too.
Yes.
Is that the music you're trying to get into us?
I think we're getting played off, guys. I think we're gonna have to.
Well, we gotta hype our stuff.
Hey! We gotta hype our stuff. Jaden, hype some stuff.
We gotta get our stuff in.
Get the stuff in.
Yes. Anyway, there's a couple events coming up for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. First of all, there is Saturday night, September 28th.
Wait. In Riverton, New Jersey.
And Sacred Heart Church in beautiful, pedestrian-friendly Riverton, New Jersey. You're going to see Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion Breaker Morant defend against former champion, formerly known as Busky, Eric Martin. You're going to see
Eric Martin.
Yes. You're going to see the Riot City's Most Wanted go after the tag team championships against the champions Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh, with Connor the Flag Boy and the Connor in the corner.
The War Dogs.
No, and we're not
Dogs.
saying it because we're in a church. What they really are.
Okay.
So there's a reason I didn't said that. And then Connor the Flag Boy is going to take on former WWE Ring of Honor and OVW superstar Tank Tolan. Plus, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship will be on the line. There's going to be a bunch of great matches. It's going to be great. It's a whole bunch of great wrestlers. And, of course, Dave Dahl. That's going to be on Saturday night, the 28th of September. And then on Friday night, October 18th, at the Pennsville Middle School in beautiful, historic Pennsville, New Jersey, you're going to have the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship match. It's right now scheduled to be Breaker Rampant, assuming he's champion. He will be defending against current NWA superstar Spencer Slade. You have Fallah Bah taking on Connor the Flag Boy in a match that's Connor may never recover from. And you have the Dog Tag Team Championship, which is going to be the War Devils of Daredevil Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh, defending against former Dog Tag Team champions Patch and Vinny the Fixer of the Old School Empire. That feud's been going on forever. Plus, here's a little exclusive for you that hasn't been announced yet. I found out the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship match is going to be Goldie defending against former champion Chris Steeler.
Ooh. Ooh.
So make sure you go to dogprowrestling.com for all your details.
I very much enjoy Goldie as the World Wrestling Grand Prix champion, but Chris Steeler was something special in that run. And I know I'm not supposed to cheer for the bad guy, but Jaden, that guy was very entertaining.
Well, guys, make sure you go to dogprowrestling.com and add us on the YouTube page. There's some content that's been going up, and we're going to have some interviews coming up from different podcasts that are going to show up there.
That's cool.
And so you're going to see that, some coming up soon, too. And radio shows.
Nice.
So and there's hopefully more. I do know there's a negotiation to try to get some of the dog wrestlers on a Saturday early morning talk show, and there's dog wrestlers going to be part of the parade for Pennsville. So if we can get some footage, we'll make sure to post that there too.
That's so. I really enjoyed that the way that you guys are reaching out to the community. I think that's super cool, and of course, hopefully, that leads to more opportunities for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators out there in South Jersey, one of South Jersey's finest. In fact, it's South Jersey's finest wrestling.
Yes. Number one promotion in all of South Jersey.
DKM, you still there or are you gone? All
he
right,
might be
then.
talking.
What?
Did you want to talk about anything else? Or are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Of course, you can follow at the Alliance Blog, where we update on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and Meta. I guess it's called Meta now, right? And X. And we're trying to be everywhere. And the social media has been kind of stalling as of late, but we're going to be putting a greater emphasis on that with a motivation from a good pal of mine who's got this thing with marketing. So anyways, we're working together. We're trying to grow this community, and we appreciate you guys being a part of that growth. If you like, comment, subscribe on this video, it does help us on the algorithm. And of course, that means more people see us. So if you want to...
Please, he invented the internet, so help the algorithm.
If you enjoy the show, please like, comment, subscribe. You don't have to like, that's not a requirement. And share with your friends. And if they don't like wrestling, just when they're not paying attention, show them, I'm gonna look at this video on your phone, and then subscribe to the channel. That definitely helps. Also,
subscribe if you like Voltron and Transformers and wow.
It's stupid how funny that is to me right now. Wow. Okay. I think that should be it. I think you guys are all good. We've had a great weekend together, or week together, not weekend. Tuesday, I'll be back with the pre-party. And
pre-party. Whoop, 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 whoop.
I need to get the horns, right? And I think we'll have a few extra things next week as well. And stay tuned to more if you like this kind of entertainment. Have a good night now. See you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And